Tiffany here. Welcome to my quilting life. If you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share my quilting videos with your friends. So today we are going to clean the long arm track and wheels. I know some of you are like, how do you do that? Well, I'm going to show you how. My track is kind of clean already because I vacuumed it the other day. But I have not vacuumed it since I finished quilting my recent quilt. So today I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to start by taking off the top pole, and we're going to lay it just on or away from the frame. Just removing the one pole for now and laying it out of the way. The second thing that we're going to do is we are going to lift, no, just leave that one. We're going to lift this, the long arm itself, the whole entire long arm, and if you can't do this, remove your other poles and do it a different way. We're going to lift the long arm off of this track right here, and we're going to place the long arm onto the tray.
Wouldn't it be easier to taking the pole off?
Oops, I forgot, disconnect. Must disconnect first. There's a thing that hooks the thing up on the back. There we go. And just place it right down here on your tray. The top bar just gives you, taking that away, just gives you room and you're to be able to set it down. The next thing will be cleaning the tray. So the next thing we're going to do is this whole entire tray picks up, and on most frames it's a totally separate piece, all the long arm and everything. Just make sure if you are on some kind of track for computerized that you disconnect that stuff first, as well as, like I said right in the beginning, pulling the plug out of this, which is just my stitch regulator. So now I'm going to turn this whole entire track upside down to expose my wheels. And I don't know, here's some wheels on the front. I don't know how well you can see, but they are goopy and nasty, and there's hair wrapped around them. Oh, it's kind of really gross. And up inside the wheels on the insides is really nasty too. So they got like goopy nastiness, and they are supposed to have some kind of oil on them, but not like this. They are not supposed to look like that. And on the inside, they're gross too. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a rag, and we're going to slide it up in there. This one might be a little too thick.
Do you want some paper towels?
Nope, look at that. See the nastiness coming out of there? We're going to do that. This is a damp rag. It's not soaked. Just going to roll it around the wheels on the back side and then wipe the front and use my fingernail to get along the thing. And we're also going to take a dry rag to it when we're completed with this part, but we're just going to go through all these wheels. And look at all that.
Oh,
you see this coming out?
That's nasty.
This is what stops you from quilting at times. So I'm just going to lay it to the side for now.
Do you want your little trash can?
And we're going to keep cleaning until it all comes out. Just keep sliding the corner of your rag or paper towels or whatever you're using. Just make sure it's a little bit damp because it'll help grab all the threads and nasty stuff that's up underneath those. Just spin it around there and get it all out. And then wipe the front. And then move on to the next ones. So
do you re-oil it when you're done?
Yes, I put a little bit of oil on all of this when I'm finished.
And what kind of oil do you use?
I use the machine's oil, actually, just a drop or two while I'm spinning the wheels.
So if we put Marvel Mystery Oil on, it's
No.
probably not a good idea?
No.
Okay.
No, no, no. Just use the machine's oil. And they probably have wheel grease for some of our machines, because everybody has different ones, like Gamels and Innovas and you know, Handy Quilters, and this is King Quilter, and some people have FAFs, and some people have Baby Locks, and yeah, some people have APQSs. It just depends on your machine. Some of them probably have different things for cleaning this, but this should all be cleaned out because it'll help your wheels roll along your track really nicely, especially if you have lots of thread tangle. And this one has a Oh, it came out. So again, I'm going to pick this up and turn it around so that you can see. I'll get these other ones now. So again, I'm just going to slide, oops, I'm going to find a thin side. Slide this under here. This one's got a chunk of thread in there.
Oh, look at that.
You can see it coming.
I can see it.
There it is. So you can see this was inside, wrapped around that wheel. This is what the wet rag helps with. It helps pull it out, or else you wouldn't have gotten it out without undoing these. And you really don't want to undo your wheels with getting the bolts off of there, because you don't want to take the chance of getting it off the pressure or the amount of tightness that they originally come with, because typically these trays is an all-in-one unit. And I just look and make sure while I'm doing this that I got it all, and I clean. This one has a ton of hair around the front side. I don't know how well you're seeing this, but it's got yuck coming from the front as well. Just globs of it. I mean, they're not globs, but look, it's just little nasty things that are coming off around the front of the bolt. And it's pretty gross. So I really get in there with my fingers and the rag. Alright, slide it under the next. Just keep doing this with all 8 wheels.
Do you need me to re-rinse that rag for you? Get you another rag?
No.
Okay.
And I look inside the wheel, inside between the wheel and the connector. And
Just over here.
last side. They get really gross though, because they're inside these things. There's its own greasy stuff, and that comes out over time, little by little. You guys see, that's so gross. And this just builds up in there, and if you're using the damp rag like I am, you're not going to ruin anything. It's not going to dry it out, because it's going to lubricate itself again over time. That back one is the cleanest one, this one right here. This one's the cleanest one. Oh, nope, look at that. It's a combination of dust and grease. See? There we go. So now all of these are wiped.
Yeah.
So after you've wiped the wheels and got that all clean, now you're just gonna, after you rinse your rag, take your damp cloth and wipe this whole entire tray along, put the rag along the track, because sometimes yucky stuff can get stuck on that. And then go ahead and wipe everything on this whole entire unit, except for anything electrical. Stay away from electrical stuff. Do not wipe that. Just wiping both sides. So don't touch this. I mean, you can get the wheel, but that's about it. The wheel turns, at least on my machine. I don't know about others. I'm wiping this whole entire unit down like this, and then we're going to take the dry rag and dry everything up, the whole entire thing. And remember, some of these trays or carriages for your long arm, they're heavy. They're not light. It's more than my little brother's sewing machine. This thing weighs quite a bit. So I'm just putting my fingers along the track, wiping everything down. And then what I'm going to do is dry the outside of these wheels. Just drying them up. No wetness left behind. Everything should be nice and dry. And then we're going to stick this back on the track. But before we put the long arm on it, we're going to take our damp rag and run it along the track. Now, if you have a different type of track system, you may want to take a vacuum and vacuum first, which I just did the other day. Vacuum in the track system itself, because thread can get stuck in between on this, I guess the track plastic. You can get thread in there. So vacuum first, and then take your wet rag wipe the whole thing, and then go past it and wipe with your dry rag. And then again on the back side, vacuum first. Take your wet rag first and just do the whole track, not just the parts that you use. You need to do your whole entire track. So if you only use the center section, make sure you wipe the whole track. And now that that side's wiped up, we're going to pick this up, stick it over there for a second. Wipe right up to wherever you placed your machine.
You want me to move the machine for you?
Yeah, we're going to put it back on the track in 2 seconds.
Okay.
We're going to do this. Now all that is wiped, we're going to stick the machine back on the track.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you were on video.
And then line it up. It goes on pretty easy. You know it's correct when it does this, but we're not done yet.
Okay.
Now that the machine is back on, continue with your frame wiping. The whole entire thing. Even if you don't use it, wipe it. I don't even use this side. This is my junk side. But I wipe it anyway. I want the whole thing wiped down. Then come to your bottom one. You would be surprised how dirty these trays and the tracks actually get. They get pretty filthy. When I was in the garage, they got worse. Now I'm in the house and it's not that bad. But it's only been in the house for a month, so.
I still get a lot of dust from the ceiling fans and everything running on them.
Yeah.
AC's turned on, ceiling fans.
And then the only other thing I do, you know, with the whole tray area, is I clean everything up. And I just go over and wipe it all. This I don't really need to dry because this dries pretty quick, this black tray area. And I just put all my stuff back. It's the metal parts that don't dry. And if they do, they dry with streaks on them. So just wipe everything up. You can even wipe all of your junk up that you keep back here. Like my bobbin cases. Just like that. And I move all this out of the way. It always ends up a mess after about 4 or 5 quilts. It becomes a disaster again. I just pick this all up, put it back, and then I keep all these little pieces for testing tension and running oil, so those just go right there. Hair clip from back when I had hair. And I just continue to wipe the rest of everything like this. And this, I said, dries pretty quick.
Do you want me to hand you this bar?
Not yet.
Okay.
Alright, so I'm going to finish wiping this up. All the way down to this end. Like I said, the tray will dry pretty quick. Just going to pick all this up. And wipe this side, which is covered in all my junk. I'm going to slide it over. And this side I'm going to dry only because I'm putting paper down right away. Just gonna pick all my stuff up. Put it right here. These are my doodles, which aren't much of a doodle, but I do it anyway. So you can utilize your table for all sorts of things. Alright, all that is done. I'm going to wipe this bar. The tray that the top bar goes in. And I'm wiping the whole entire bar. Not just the top part, I'm going underneath it too. And this bar gets kind of dirty as well because the quilt or the fabric all rubs up against it as it advances. Wipe the rest of your frame down, and then we're going to go on to the machine. Be careful with your damp rag and your machine. but you do need to wipe everything down because it gets just as filthy. I don't know if you guys can see, but there's dust buildup. Even from polyester thread, there'll still be some dust, and it'll build up. So make sure you wipe all that up. Oops. Just like this, wipe it all up. And then without the damp rag, just with what I've been wiping with, I'm going to wipe all this stuff down with the dry rag. The screen, the turning wheel, and if you have anything on your machine, wipe the outside of it, just like that. Wipe in the throat space. Wipe at the wheels, which these wheels don't get as bad. Thread will get stuck under them, but not around them. So I can just roll the wheel and stick my fingernail in it as it rolls to clean it out. Just run the machine with your fingernail and the rag in the crack of that on both sides. So I just stick my fingernail in here and then roll it as my finger rubs inside that. It is really not that bad. And then same with this back one. There we have it, it's done. I'm going to move myself now to the front. I'm going to wipe up anything up here. And I stick my nail in up here and get any dust around the threading system. I'm being very, very, very careful. It's one thing you have to do the whole entire time is very careful, very careful. Get around everything up here. Wipe around my light. And you should do this every, like, at least wipe your track after every 3 or 4 quilts. Wiping the whole entire machine you can do, you know, every 8 to 10 quilts, you know. You don't have to do it all the time, wiping the machine. But you should use a brush or something to wipe away from the tension area. Those tension discs, especially if you're using cotton, will get very filthy, so you need to wipe around all that. I also, one last thing, when cleaning my machine, and I don't have the tool right next to me, but I also take the needle plate off. And when I take the needle plate off, I clean around the lip and everything. So give us a second so I can get the tool and I'll take that off and show you how that works.
Okay.
So this needle plate should come off once every 6 months or so. You don't have to do that all the time because you're normally cleaning the underside from the bobbin area. But you get nasties built up around the needle plate. So we're going to pop that needle plate off if I can get it off. There we go. Unscrew it just like this. Most of it is just like our regular domestic machines. It usually comes undone with our fingers after we unhook it. We're going to pop the screws off and stick them aside. Don't lose them. We're going to go from under and push that plate out. And you guys can see that how much nastiness gets under that needle plate. It gets pretty disgusting. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe the underside of this away like that, all the way around it. And then we're going to dry it right away because it's metal and it'll smear and get gross. But do you see how disgusting that gets? So once every 6 months or so, take that off and clean it. Just don't lose any of your parts. Make sure you use only your damp rag and a fingernail around the edge or some kind of tool to clean all that up, because see, it just knocked it right back into my track. I'm just wiping along that edge, getting all that grossness out. You could probably just use a paper towel or something for that. Just clean it out because it's really gross. And then once I have that area cleaned out, I just get around the top part right here, around that lip, and it's done. The rest of everything is just wiping the needle shaft and the hopper foot shaft, just like that. And take your dry rag right away, dry it all up. Try not to hit your needle, because it'll get stuck on whatever it is you're doing. But now that area is nice and clean. The only other thing you need to do is take your bobbin out, like that, and then take your brush in there and get all that dust out. Get all that dust out. And you can go from the front side now that you have that plate off, so you can get into the back side, which is normally not gotten into. And just clean the rest of that out. Blow it. There we go. And now that is nice and clean as well. So the only last thing to do is put that needle plate back on. Drop some oil down in the bobbin area, which I've shown you guys, but I'm going to have Scott come as close as he can so I can show you where I put the oil in the bobbin. Okay. Alright, so this is what it actually looks like down here underneath. And this is the best I can do with lighting. But what we're going to do, shine a light down there so you can see. And the oil is going to go right here on this lip. See this lip right here? I'm just going to put a drop of oil. Come on. Get on that lip. Right there. That's where the oil goes. And then I'll be on the back side and I'll turn my wheel until it soaks up all that oil around there. So all I did was put it on that front lip. Just like that. And that's what you do between every bobbin change. But you can also do it between, you know, cleanings. So I'm going to drop a little bit more oil because this was my cleaning. And I'm going to drop it back here on the back side. And that's it. Just one little drop back in all that. And that's all I need to do. Alright, now to put the needle plate back on. So just slide that on into its spot. And it's so clean now that it wants to move around. We're going to put those screws back in and just finger turn them at first, which is the same as any other machine. They just finger turn until you get them so far down that you can't turn them anymore. And then you take your screwdriver and tighten it down. But before I tighten it too tight, we're going to make sure that my needle lands literally center to that. And so we're going to turn the wheel and look, and it needs to be shifted just ever so slightly. Alright. There we go. Now tighten it. Just like that. So you can now see that my wheel and needle land exactly in the center where it's supposed to of that hole. Also, I'm running the oil through it right now by doing this. So the oil is now running through that bottom section everywhere that I put it. Because every 6 months or so I do that. So now I'm just rolling it. You can actually turn the machine on and let it run through on manual mode, but I'm not going to do that. So there we have it. And last but not least is inserting the bar back in where it goes. I'll glide it into the hole. He just puts it in the other lip. There we go. And there we have it. It is all nice and clean. Everything is rolling wonderfully. There is any problems at all. Don't forget to plug your electrical parts back in. I will get to that when we are finished. But for now, that is how everything gets cleaned and oiled, cleaned out under the plate, under the needle plate, and so on and so forth. That is how the wheels get done. Again, you can also take a drop of your oil and go under all the wheels, but they look like they're oily already. Like seriously, rolling it around just brings it right back out again. So the more you use it and roll it, the more the oils and greases that are built into those wheels is going to come out. So that's it. It's clean. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys, again, keep up with cleaning your machines every 6 months for a full cleaning, but after every couple quilts, wipe your tracks off, and if you get tangles of thread down here, clean it out as it comes. So thank you for watching.
You should still put oil on the wheels.
Oh yes, and oh, you mean right now on the video?
Huh? No. Well, if they want to see, but you should still oil the wheels. If you love it, lube it.
For the wheels, I just take the oil and I drop it down in here.
Hold on, let me get the camera so they can see.
Just one drop in the lip of all the wheels, like that. And then I'm going to go on the back side as well of all the wheels like this. Drop a drop of oil, come around to this side, and I'm going in between the wheel and the tray. Drop of oil, so all 4 of those are now done. Roll it around just a little bit, like this. Roll it around, because I put the oil between the wheel and the tray. And then I'm going to go around and do the back side. I'm not using a ton of my machine oil, I'm just using a drop of oil. I just stick the long skinny tube in there, 1 drop, in there, 1 drop, come under here, 1 drop, and over here, 1 drop, just like that. And then again, just rolling it back and forth. I put the cap on here while I roll it. So the wheel, I put the drop of oil between the wheel and the tray itself.
Way down in there. She went so fast I couldn't keep up because she's going insanely fast. But it was down in there.
Okay. And then just roll it around back and forth like this. And while I'm back here, I'm going to plug my machine back in.
Down in there, that's the wheels.
So down in those, behind those, right there.
Okay.
Alright. I thank you guys for watching. I'm going to do this for a few minutes now. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new, like, and share my videos. See you next time. Bye!